Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Extra AF Comedy. Oh, my glasses are creating a glare. I'm so sorry. My name is Sarah Schmidt, and I'm going to be your host tonight for Extra AF, part of Lady Laughs Comedy. We are so glad that you are here joining us today. We have got some great people. Just a little bit of background about us. We have been in the biz for this show about a year, performing here in Madison, Wisconsin, and just excited to be here virtually with all of you and share some really amazing comics with you. A few things I do have, we have at the bottom of the screen, you can see down here, when each comic performs tonight, you will see their name, where they're from. You'll also see their Venmo account. So if you want to give a tip to the comics, you'll have that opportunity right there. If you decide that you'd rather tip Lady Laughs Comedy, our Venmo is down there, and a portion of that will get donated to a local charity, most likely something social justice related. So feel free to do that. But man, it has been a little rough, right? For being home. I don't know if everybody has been staying home completely, social distancing and things like that. I've seen all these posts of people doing art, and like they're posting these amazing artistic, they're building things and painting and all this stuff. And the only art that I'm creating is like on the wall of my shower with all the hair that's falling out. So I'm like, and then you kind of like place it on there, but then I'm like moving it around and like stepping back. And I made a unicorn yesterday. It's cool. Maybe I should start taking pictures of that. It's been hard for me working at home and taking care of the family. I've got 2 kids. My husband is working from home as well. And my 4-year-old son is picking up on a lot of really cool phrases. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but he told me the other day that he was going to fart in my mouth and make me swallow it. And I don't know what, I'm wondering what kind of kinks he'll be into when he's older. So it's kind of gross. My husband and I, we just celebrated our 11th anniversary, and we couldn't celebrate. Thank you. It's the longest 11 years of my entire life. We last year celebrated our 10th anniversary, traveled to Galena, Illinois. It's a little historical town, and got a bed and breakfast and went out, and it was a million degrees and super humid. And we were walking back to our bed and breakfast, and like I was just like sweaty and gross, and just said, I said, Nick, I know that we're supposed to be like wanting to like do it and stuff, but like I just feel great. Can we just like go to sleep? And he was like, yeah, sure. So we get back, and I like take a washcloth and like wash all the important parts, and just go to bed. Well, in the morning came around, he decides he wants to get frisky and decides to go down on me. And I was like, do you remember last night with the washcloth and the sweaty and doesn't it smell like, can you just give me a sec? And he stopped and popped his head out of my power muff, and he went, I was like, oh my God, I swear to God, if you make a yeast joke or any sort of bread joke, I'm going to kill you. And he goes, no, I was going to say it smells kind of homey. What? My vagina smells homey? Homey like his grandma's attic? And he was like, no. I was like, homey like when you grow out of clothes and you toss them in a trash bag and you throw them down in the basement, and then you wait, and it's like 5 years later and you pull them out and you're like, maybe I can wear these again, maybe they'll fit, like that. And he was like, no, I was gonna say like a nice piece of luggage. I was like, oh my God, I'm about to pack that luggage and leave. That's the first time I thought about divorce. That's the real joke, you guys. That was not the first time I thought about it, way before that. I'm coming up on, let's see, how many months now? Almost 9 months out from a breast reduction. It was really interesting. So if you work in healthcare, have worked with insurance or anything like that, you know that there's a code, it's called an ICD code, that's attached to any sort of diagnosis. And so after my consultation, I left and looked at my MyChart, and the diagnosis code that was given to me is pendulous breasts. And all I could think of was like, it's a heartbeat and, you know, a raven in a dungeon away from an Edgar Allan Poe poem. It's pretty crazy. My 10-year-old is getting a little bit too wise lately. Being a parent is hard. The hardest thing that I found is lying to my kids about hating drugs. I can't do it. I can't. So last summer, our neighbors who are in the biz, they have really shitty business practices, by the way, but whatever. They were smoking, and the aroma was drafting into the kitchen while we were eating dinner. I, of course, was like, and my daughter turns to me and said, "Mom, do you smell that? The neighbors are smoking marijuana." Isn't that awful, Mom? It's awful, Mom. They're smoking drugs. And I felt very defensive over my pal Mary Jane. Kind of like that weird family member that nobody really likes, but you kind of have that soft spot for. And I was like, I mean, there's a lot of health benefits from this plant. It's medicinal for a lot of people. It helps reduce anxiety, and it makes them feel better, less pain. I kind of was like going on. And she said, really? And I said, yeah, and it's legal in a lot of states, including Illinois soon. And this was last year, you know. And she said, really, like where? So I'm like listing off all these states, and I'm leaving off California because I had recently gotten back from California, and she knew. And so, and she goes, where else, Mom? And I was like, California too. And she was like, Mom, you just went to LA. Did you smoke marijuana in California? And I instantly was craving chips and salsa. My mouth got really dry, and I was like, yeah, I did. And she was like, oh my God, you are grounded. And I was like, okay. And she's like, but wait, did you only smoke it once? And I said, and she was like, okay, fine, you're only grounded for half of your life. And I was like, okay, well, which half, the first or the second? And she was like, well, I don't know when you're gonna die, so. And I was like, okay, whatever. All right, well, that is enough from me, y'all. I am going to let our funny comedian take over. Your next comic is a Chicago-based comedian and writer. They host a weekly virtual open mic called Cabin Fever, and their humor writing publications like Point in Case, Slackjaw Humor, and the Belladonna Comedy. Give a round of applause for Lauren Harsh.
Hello, Internet. It's fake being Wisconsin. So I have never been in a relationship before. I'm 25, so it's not going to be with Leonardo DiCaprio. Am I right? I wore my cool homemade jacket on one date, and then suddenly she's going around telling everyone that I'm a psychopath and unsafe to be around. How did you find out that the jacket was made of human skin? Oh my God! Ted Bundy, to this day, has fans and was played by Zac Efron in a movie, but a non-binary serial killer can't find love? What is this? Yeah, on the real, like it's not a fun existence. Because I mean, one of this society's main hobbies that isn't actual oppression is making single people feel like shit. But it has some surprising perks. Like while we've been in quarantine, I've seen a lot of people talking about like, oh, talk me out of texting my shitty ex. And you can't text your ex and regret it if you don't have exes in the first place. Yeah, I like to describe my gender as no matter who I'm into or who's into me, it's at least a little bit gay. Yeah, now my go-to response for catcalling is, excuse me, sir, I'm not a woman, so you being interested in me makes you gay. I'm lucky I haven't been murdered for it yet. Yeah, my mom is supportive of me mostly, but there's this small part of her that is like a student who slacked off all semester and is calculating exactly what score they need to get on the final in order to pass the class. But passing the class is me having a heteronormative future. That, I mean, that doesn't come up often, but when it does, it's in really weird ways. Like a couple of years ago, just apropos of nothing, she says to me, you know, Lauren, straight marriage has its benefits. Your dad fixes things around the house, and your Aunt Christine and Aunt Amy have to hire people to fix the same thing, so we save money. I'm like, how is that your argument for hetero? Like, men are happy sometimes. Like, come on, you know that men don't have a monopoly on handy, right? Like, if I decided that was important to me, I could find someone of any gender who could fix the sink or learn how to fix the sink myself. And also, you've seen the men I'm attracted to. Like, my type for men is I could probably kick his ass. Like, so if I have a husband, he'll write me a poem, make me a frittata, but he's not any more likely to know how to fix a sink than any given woman. Like, what can I say? Yeah, I don't get the like pet social media accounts that, you know, write the captions as if the pet is saying it, but in like that cutesy style where they misspell words on purpose. And like, why are you assuming that if your pet could speak, they would speak to you the way you speak to them? Like, if I woke up tomorrow in a world where animals could talk, I would fully expect my cat, who I talk to, like, whoa, who's my sweet Polly Wally? You're my sweet girl. You're my pretty witty. To open her mouth and sound like Sir Patrick Stewart. Climb up onto my computer and go, human, I command that you cease what you are doing, for I require pats, scritches, and forehead kisses. There's something called tea Earl Grey hot. I don't know what it is, but it sounds good right now. And then there would be a bunny rabbit somewhere who sounds like James Earl Jones. Yeah. So the French grammar police made some statement a while back about the grammatical gender of COVID-19. Yeah, they decided that it was important for everyone to know that it is feminine, and if you're using masculine words to refer to it, you need to stop immediately. And I'm just like, how did that conversation go down? Like, did someone get up and then bang their sword that all the members are issued on the podium and go, mes amis, the discussions of gender neutral job titles must cease immediately. It is it is imperative that you decide if the virus is a and then the argument, and since everyone in this organization is like a 70-year-old white man, they like all of the
Easy.
yeah, like with the logic, like boomer humor. Like, did one get up and go, yes, anything that is efficient at killing must be a man. And then, mais, monsieur, the virus has closed all of the pubs, cancelled all of the sports, and forced the husbands to stay at home with their wives. Obviously, c'est une femme. L'Académie Française. That's how they try to stay relevant. My Parks and Rec ass hometown has a seasonal, high school sports insert that looks like gay porn. I saw the first issue of it sitting on my parents' counter, and it had two football players from different schools standing back to back like this, and the title was Inside the Locker Room. And I said to my parents, this looks like gay porn, expecting them to tell me, Lauren, get your head out of the gutter. They did not. They said, oh my God, it does. If Carl and Sandra from Adrian, Michigan are thinking gay porn, at that point they had to be on purpose. Like, three sports reporters in the town get the other two together and go, listen, sports reporting in Lenawee County is boring, but I've got an idea on how to spice it up. A seasonal sports insert inspired by homoerotica. By my mock-ups, we've got the football players, we've got the swimmers that clearly stuffed their Speedos, we've got one wrestler pinning another down, we've got baseball players holding their bats at a certain angle. We've got one gymnast helping another stretch, and the softball players. All right, Tom, you've got your hand raised. What's your question? Okay, what's the football sitting on the grass? Come on, don't tell me you've never met someone who would fuck a football. Okay. And how about the boy dressed head to toe in leather walking another boy on a leash? Well, that's a new track and field event, obviously. Like, okay, what are we going to do about it when people start complaining? Well, we deny, obviously. We tell them that they're the ones who are sexualizing children, and how dare they bring homosexuality into the wholesome, straight world of sports. All right, now who wants to start the betting pool for how long it'll take for us to get forcibly shut down? All right. Another fun fact about me, I am on the spectrum, and there are a lot of stereotypes about us autistic people that have no basis in reality. Like that we can't make friends, that we're all 8-year-old boys or asshole math professors, and that it's better to get polio than to end up like us. Here's one that I've found to be true 100% of the time. We like trains! And honestly, can you blame us? I mean, trains are so cool. They don't have to do anything, and they take you where you need to go. When I was in France, I rode the TGV. That's their really fast train. It was the coolest thing. You just watched the countryside zip by, and you don't even feel anything. We need trains like that in this country. Why don't we have trains like that in this country? I think it's my time now. Sorry. I've been Lauren Harsh, and I hope I didn't harsh your vibe.
Great job. Yay! Thank you, Lauren. Oh my gosh, I think that's so crazy there. I guess I get it, trying to figure out if coronavirus is like masculine or feminine, but I think we all agree, right, that it's a cishet white guy. So that's for sure. All right. Your next comedian is a comedian, writer, and burlesque performer from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Yay, Midwest. Now living in California. He's toured the country performing at comedy clubs, colleges, cabarets, comic book and science fiction conventions, burlesque shows, theaters, strip clubs, and bowling alleys. Wonder Dave is a commentator for an acclaimed independent wrestling show, Hood Slam, at their monthly Sexy Good Time Wrestle Show. He's been featured storyteller on the Risk podcast. He's a producer for the podcast Nerd Rage, The Great Debates, and his writing's been published in the UK Guardian and San Francisco Weekly in anthologies by Right Bloody. I can't even see the rest of it. There's so many. There's so many. Give a round of applause for Wonder Dave. Woo!
Hello, everyone. Yay. What's up? My name is Wonder Dave. I am a gay man. I come from the Cayman Islands. Many seamen have been lost. Many more have been found. What we're doing. In addition to being a gay man, I'm a gay man who dates a trans guy. I date a transsexual gentleman. He still has his original plumbing, none of your business. But I do kind of want you to know that I'm a gay guy who is out here murdering that puss, doing a real good job. Technically, it's not murder so much as it is manslaughter. Hey! I'm glad you liked that, because you can't have manslaughter without man's laughter. Word jokes! Some people are confused by the fact that I am a gay man who dates a trans guy. They don't get it. But I don't know how a microwave works, but I can still throw a hot dog in there and it gets cooked. So maybe we should all just live our lives. I am here with you, fine audience members, wherever you may be in the comfort of your own homes. What I would have been doing, had we not been shut down, is I would have been hitting up the music festivals. I would have been performing at an EDM festival right about now. I assume people are familiar with EDM. If you're not, it stands for Everyone's Doing Molly. It stands for electronic dance music, and I would have been in Michigan, actually, at Electric Forest. I performed there last year, and people are often like, is comedy a thing that happens at music festivals very often? And the answer is, I don't think so, but that was the fifth one I had performed at was last year, because apparently my target market is people on acid. I didn't know. I wrote this new joke for the people on acid. I was stoked to do it this year, so I'm going to do it for you guys at home. Let me know if you think they'll like it. But so I'd do it and I'd be like, oh, it's really hard to do my hair because it's made of snakes. When I try it, their eyes would get big, which I assumed means they like it. That's what's going on here. So instead of traveling the country doing weird gigs, I don't know, I'm at home watching Tiger King. It's very fun. Tiger King, you remember that from the beginning of the quarantine? I do. I think my takeaway from Tiger King was a little different than everyone else's. I was very attracted to one of his husbands, John Finley. You may remember him as the tattooed gentleman who didn't wear a shirt and also was missing several teeth. That's very my type. It's part of my upbringing. I will not be shamed for this. Also, he has teeth now, but he has terrible facial hair, and I'm not sure which one was worse. But if someone had told me that all I needed to get a cute straight guy to fuck me was meth and a tiger, I would have been on that. Right? I could have done that. I had those things years ago. What are we doing? Don't worry about me though. I have other hobbies. I have other things to keep my time busy. Mostly my hobbies in the before quarantine times. I mostly just hit on straight men. That was my favorite hobby. I love doing it. It's a good time. And I think I'm born into exactly the right era to hit on straight men, right? Because if I were born 20 years earlier, definitely a problem. And if I were born 20 years later, we would be too equal, right? It would just not be a cute flirtatious thing I'm doing. It would just be sexual harassment. So I feel okay about that. My other, I don't know. I'm into a bunch of nerdy stuff. How does one grow up to become a nerdy gay comedian? Good question. You're welcome, Paige. I listen. Trick the Child, drag queen, also into him. I felt so good when I found out the other person. But yeah, I am a nerdy gay guy. And here's how it happened. I had a cool mom. That was all it took. My mom was a bartender. She rode motorcycles. My options for rebellion, very limited. Turned out I just read a lot. Just stayed inside and read books. Was real into it. As an adult, I've got other cool nerdy hobbies. I'm a big cosplay guy. That's one of the things I like to do. I go perform at a lot of conventions and I dress up. My favorite guy to dress up as is a character you might have heard of. His name is Waluigi. Right? No? Okay, some of you don't know. I'll explain who he is. So I'm assuming if you don't know who Waluigi is, you know who the Super Mario Brothers, Mario and Luigi are. They save a princess. They fight a big bad guy named Bowser. And then at some point, they were like, Mario's fought Bowser too many times. Got to give him someone new. So they made him an evil twin. They took the M in Mario and they flipped it upside down and they got Wario. And they wanted you to know he was evil. So they gave him like a weirder mustache and made him chubbier, which doesn't say evil to me so much as it says Renaissance Festival, but whatever. And then like over a decade later, they were like, shit, we gave Mario an evil twin, but failed to do so for Luigi. So they took the L from Luigi, they flipped it upside down and they got Waluigi. Doesn't work. But I love him. He's super fun. And because Luigi's like taller and thinner, they made him like super tall and super stretchy. And like they were like, this is fun. And I, like a normal person, assumed that Waluigi was in fact Wario's brother, like Luigi is Mario's brother. But then, as mentioned, very nerdy, I was reading the English translation of the Japanese version of Nintendo Power magazine. And I learned that Waluigi is in fact not Wario's brother. He is instead a man that Wario kidnapped, put on a torture rack to stretch him out and make him all tall, and then brainwashed him to hate Luigi, which is a very complicated origin story for a character that debuted in a game called Mario Tennis. Like, now I just needed a doubles partner. Like, grab a Goomba, buddy. Get it done with. You didn't have to do all that. It's a little extra is all I'm saying. I don't know. I am super nerdy. I was at home watching an animated feature-length Scooby-Doo cartoon the other day because in addition to being a nerd, I'm also a Hufflepuff. What up, California? I was watching an animated Scooby-Doo cartoon, and in this Scooby-Doo cartoon, the monsters were real, and I was very upset by it. And this is how you know someone's a nerd, by the way. You just wait for them to get upset about something that does not matter. That's it. And I was pissed off. I was like, real monsters in my Scooby-Doo! How dare you? And then I calmed down. And I think I'm on the right track. I think it's reasonable of me to feel this way because if real monsters are in Scooby-Doo, that means the rational people on the show are the stoner and his dog. I don't want to live in that world. I want to trust a lesbian with sensible shoes. If you're not on board, get on board. I know she's a lesbian because she is a better person than anyone else on the show. And lesbians are better people than the rest of us. That's a fact, you guys. I'm sorry. Look at the stereotypes about lesbians to prove it's true. The big one, I think, like, obviously, like, there's stereotypes, like, they care too much about their pets. The ASPCA is a job creator, is what I say to that. There's other stereotypes I think are unfair. There's a stereotype that they're man haters. I think that's not true. I think lesbians are simply man indifferent. They don't need them. It's like their whole thing. If there's truly a group of people in the world that hate straight men, it's got to be straight women. I don't know if they are not happy with men right now. I don't know. I'm a very sophisticated man. People don't believe me, but I have not always been this way. As mentioned, the attraction to John Finley and the Tiger King thing, that comes from somewhere. I was raised. I was raised in a very rednecky place. This is my ultimate piece of redneck cred, and I'll leave you with this. The house I was born in had an outhouse. It was a very old outhouse. It still had the corncob bin. An internet audience, I don't know if you know, so I'll explain. Back before we as a society had toilet paper, we used to wipe our butts with corn cobs. That's just a real thing. Not the kind with kernels still on them. We would eat the corn and then reduce, reuse, and recycle. When I was little, in my outhouse, I wiped my butt with a corn cob the wrong way, and that's why I'm gay. Thank you so much. Come check out Nerd Rage, The Great Debates. Help I'd like to friend. I'm doing those shows this month. Find me on the internet. I will tell you all about them.
Thank you so much, Wonder Dave. Yay! I will never be able to eat corn on the cob the same way. Oh, I have to give a shout out to my comedy wife, Lolita D. I see your comments. I miss you. All right. Our next comedian is a Chicago native who decided to take a stab at comedy and has quickly proven that she is definitely ready for the next level. Having performed at the Comedy Palace, the Comedy Store, and the Madhouse, her quick wit and hilarious punchlines, along with great stage presence, make her one to look for on the rise in comedy. Give a round of applause for Dee Steps. Woo!
Hey, so I just real quick, let me get this out of the way, people. I normally do not wear baseball caps at all, but black folks ain't playing. They did not even open their shop back up. So I'm like sitting up here like, you ever seen the movie The Color Purple? You ever seen that? Ever seen goofy ass braid? Yeah, I gotta leave this hat on. Hey, my mama, I love my mama. I love her to death. But she keeps seeing me on flyers and she think I done just blew up, right? She's like, ooh, look at that. My baby done made it, huh? You on the floor with white people, huh? I was like, Mama, that don't mean I made it. I started getting like calls from distant relatives and shit like, hey, your aunt about to lose her house, right? Okay, hey, that's a true story. Okay. So I'm in quarantine, but I'm actually going back to work, but I come straight home. But let me tell y'all what happened to me when they like shut shit down and I was just in the house. So I live by myself, me and my daughter. Yes, my daughter is a dog. Her name is Pixie. That's my baby. But so y'all got to promise not to call PETA on me when I tell y'all this story. Let me just get this out real quick. One day I took a shower and I was drying my leg off and Pixie licked my ass. I liked it. And the next day I woke up, I had fur in my mouth. Hey, okay, don't tell nobody. Being in quarantine. So I'm single, have been single. But what I did, I created me an imaginary girlfriend. Yeah, right? Like, but she kind of make me mad when I yell at her ass and she don't respond. Okay, y'all get that part later. But so I decided that as a lesbian, I need to keep my coochie eating skills up. So this is what I do on occasion. Lesbos, listen up. This shit works. Take 2 melons, put them at the top of your bed, and get like an orange slice and put it at the bottom, and then put your hand on the melons and play with the titties and eat the orange slice and look at the melons like they gonna respond. That shit works. It worked for me. Hey, y'all mad at me for that one? I shouldn't. Okay, hey. Oh, real quick. So, I've heard dudes say this before, but my friend actually posted this on his social media page. He was like, if I was a woman, I would play with my titties all day. I was like, no, you probably wouldn't. But then I smoked a blunt and I was like, ooh, if I was a dude, I'd play with my balls all day. What I would do, I would lay back, I would prop my leg up and I take these 2 fingers right here and I just rub my balls. I just rub the middle, then I would play, I jiggle them a little bit, I jiggle them, right? Then I would let my pubic hair grow real, real long and then I would braid it. I put like some long braids in my pubic hair. And then because I'm a big fan of Venus and Serena Williams, I would put beads on them braids. Hey. Oh, and you know how when Venus and Serena, when they would win a tournament, right? They would win a tournament, right? And they would go give their beads to the fans. What I would do, I would fuck the shit out of a girl, and I'd be like, I dicked you. Take these beads home. Hey, I can't get away with the dicking down. Okay. Fuck y'all. It's what I do. Oh, okay. So I have a coworker. She has, I don't know if y'all do dick pics, but she has an entire gallery, a plethora of dick pics in her phone, right? So I got bored one day at work. She was like, here, Dee Dee, look at the dicks. They send them to me. I was like, hey. So I'm sitting there and I'm flipping through dicks. And I was like, oh, it's all kind of dicks, huh? It was happy dicks in there. It was old sad looking dicks, just sad ass dicks, right? Oh, goofy ass looking dicks. One dick had a vein that ran up the side of it, and then it split at the top like a fork in the road. So you know what I did? I zoomed, you know how you zoom in on the phone? I zoomed in and I zoomed in. I was like, his dick looked like a road map. The little veins look like little edges and shit. I was like, hey. I'm just saying the dick looked like a road map if you zoom in, the little veins and shit. I don't know what y'all talking about. Hey. Oh, so real quick, the whole BLM thing. Yeah, woohoo. First of all, thank you to the white people for finally speaking the fuck up. But let me just say this. I'm kind of loving this shit. Let me tell y'all what happened. It's a true story. I was at the grocery store, right? I got like $70 worth of groceries, and I'm just, ringing my ring. Cute little white lady behind me. She said, oh, sweetie, your people suffered enough. I'm gonna pay for your groceries. She paid for my groceries. I was like, oh, wait a minute, let me go grab some more shit. No, I didn't do that to her. I didn't do that to her, y'all. I was like, I'm not gonna do that to her. So, back to this little hair braiding situation that I have. So let me just get this one out real quick. So my normal hair braider, who had a shop that I would go to, that was my girl. She was African, and I would sit up in there, and they all African. They would braiding your shit. They be in just clicking and shit. Like, I don't know what the hell they saying, but they could braid the hell out of my hair, right? So she decided that she was gonna go back to the motherland. She left right before this damn virus hit. So I am one of those people, and this is what I have to do. I'll be in like a little gathering or get together, and I'll make an announcement like, hey, excuse me, young ladies, does anyone here know how to braid hair? Usually it's somebody named Shaniqua, Funquita, Queen. They're like, oh, I'll hook you up, right? But when I show up, they either got too many kids or too many roaches. Or too many kids and too many roaches. That shit's true. I walked in one lady house one day, and her brother and his friends was over the table weighing up cocaine. I was like, I can't get my hair braided here. I might die. But true story. I was at another little gathering. I was like, oh, anyone here know how to braid hair? My usual story. This one young lady, she was real nice, clean, and cool looking, right? She was like, my name is Kimberly. I was like, yes. She was like, I braid. Everybody vouched for her. I said, okay. She gave me the address, guys. True shit. I show up, right? I'm like, oh, the place was perfect looking. I said, this shit is like what the? Oh, this is a motherfucking funeral parlor. Y'all ain't gonna believe this shit. Yes. So there I am inside this funeral home in the parlor, and I'm sitting there trying to get my hair braided, but I feel the spirits and shit. I'm like, what the hell going on, right? I'm sitting in, and all of a sudden, I just farted like fuck it, and then I tried to chew some double mint gum and like push the smell of the gum out so it'll blend with the fart. Hopefully she don't smell it. But I was like, you know what? This is a funeral home. I know she has smelled worse, right? So she's braiding my hair, and she's smoothly talking, and then I asked her the stupidest question that I could ask her at that moment, guys. I was like, so what do you do here? She said, oh, I do the makeup and the hair for the deceased. I farted again, y'all. It just came out. I was like, fuck it, she gonna have to smell that one. I got Lady Dead fingers in my head. Oh Lord, Lady Dead fingers is in my head. I immediately turned into Forrest, the movie part. I was like, ooh, dear God, please make me a bird so I can fly far, far, far away from here. Dear God, please make me a bird. That's all my time, guys. I don't have my seeing glasses on. I can't see. My name is Dee Dee Steps. You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook. Hey.
Hey! Yay! Thank you, Dee Dee. Woo! That was awesome. Oh my gosh. It made me think of the movie My Girl, thinking about dead people in makeup and stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna keep things rolling because y'all are way funnier than I am. Your comedian, your last comedian tonight is from LA. And he wrote with Joan Rivers for How'd You Get So Rich? Give it up for Paul Jasek.
Woo!
Hello, you all. Well, what a great amount of fun you guys are. I'm so proud of all of you. I obviously am the senior member of this little gig. And to sit back here and watch all y'all, I started doing comedy by mistake, really. The first time I ever had any material, I went to the Comedy Store in West Hollywood. This isn't really a joke. It's just I'm sharing. It's like a 12-step meeting. And I had material when I went to the Comedy Store. And Mitzi made me a regular that night, and I had 3 minutes of material. So that's kind of how I fell into this, because as a gay man in Hollywood in 1989, I was not getting a lot of roles. They would say to me, this character isn't gay. And I would go, well, I didn't think so. And they said, well, you have a gay accent. Well, I knew about that. I'd grown up in Colorado. And I realized very early when I knew that Barbie's best friend's name was Midge instead of Skipper. It was really long years. The same 16 kids I went to first grade with, I graduated high school with. And it's so much fun. I'm still friends with quite a few of them. They're now grandparents. It's always a surprise for me at this age. I look in the mirror, and when I hit Hollywood in 1976, I'll tell you, disco was it. I had white shorts, puka shells, feathered hair. I was hot. And now I'm the captain from Titanic. It happens very quickly, children. So this aging thing is a surprise to me too, because I feel the same on the inside. I feel like the nerdy, geeky kid. Learning about men that like men. I didn't have any role models if you don't count Paul Lynde in the center square, but I loved the stuff about Scooby-Doo. I watched Scooby-Doo. I was looking for hints, and I was like, oh yeah. The girl with the thick glasses and that sweater, I know she's a lesbian because she's knocking her glasses off so she can grope Daphne. I get it. It was that and Gilligan's Island, I never understood. How old is Gilligan? It's just creepy, and they live in a hammock, and he's his little buddy, but what about the professor? I was not getting a lot of clues in the late 60s, early 70s about living. Like coming to West Hollywood was like an enormous party. Oh my God, back in the day. It was, and I look and see all y'all coming of age at this time. I think it would be very hard. And I think this quarantine, by nature, I'm an only child. I have 2 older half brothers that are 14 and 11 years older than I am. But I play very nicely in my room. I color, and so the quarantine has not been that tough on me, especially with the internet. Oh, I'm learning Mandarin Chinese. I'm interested in baking without the box. There's just endless things for me. This collision between puberty and menopause is exhausting, though, because now I have to nap. That's the other thing is when you get a little bit older. I mean, how will we know when I have dementia? I've been this way my whole life, but there's this thing that happens as you get older. It's a fun game I'm playing called "Why Am I in This Room?" Mm-hmm. I don't know if it happens at different times in people's lives. The hallway is very confusing, but if you're in the bathroom or the kitchen, there's a dead giveaway while you're there. But so I will end up in the living room and have to stand there for quite a while. I was in a relationship for a very long time. I was in a relationship for 10 years. And it was great. He was very tall. He was 6'5". He was from Buffalo, New York. He was a Roman Catholic Quaker, quite frankly, which made him quiet about his guilt. And very, very easy to live with. We were talking about growing up, and I said, basically for men, it doesn't matter your status or your orientation, but your life is about balls. As a kid, you either look at all of the games we play. They knock them, we throw them around, we bounce them. I remember trying to play football, and I was a nice little kid. I really did just want to sit on the edge of the playground and read. But somebody was always going, look, he's he's got big shoulders. Let's get him out there. I was the first male cheerleader Niwot High School ever had. And I always thought 42-inch shoulders were good for spaghetti straps. So it was an anomaly. But the thing about, you know, especially about football, if you would like the ball, please ask. You don't have to knock me down and pile on top of me. I wouldn't find that attractive till I was in my mid-20s. And I don't know if I'm that gay anymore. I'm like every other American male over 50. I just want the remote and a nap is really what it is. It's not so much a political issue any longer. I flew for a long time. I was a flight attendant. I've sort of had every job in the world. It's a full-time job being a stereotype. I don't know if you know that. I haven't been a florist yet, but you know, I still have time. I was a flight attendant for a long time, and in fact, on Monday I'm flying back to Colorado. It'll be interesting to see how they're handling this COVID crisis. I'm concerned about it, but I'm also a graduate of the other epidemic. You know, when the AIDS crisis hit, we all had to rally together. That's why I find people are trying to draw a parallel between the AIDS crisis and the COVID crisis. And I said, well, first of all, I'll tell you, we would have loved to have gotten the press. This one did. You know, we were shouting in an empty room. But this one's more immediate. I will tell you, this one just doesn't mess around. You could have been infected with the AIDS virus, and it took a minute, so to speak. This one will take you down in 5 to 7 days. And I people's massive denial about it. But if you've noticed, have you noticed how everybody is like right on the edge? There's tons of footage of people losing their mind, people spitting on oranges, and women being beaten on the bus. And I've had those fantasies for years. So now actually just turning on Facebook is kind of like this middle-aged porn. I'm like, oh yeah, hit her again. I'm not that mean. But for somebody that was bullied most of their life, there's some sort of sick satisfaction in it. I also make my living as a tarot reader. So that's what I've been doing most of my work at home, which once again is just fine. It's me and a bunch of spirits. I've worked in a lot of haunted places. I worked at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, that The Shining was written about, and I worked at the Queen Mary here in Long Beach. In fact, I helped bring Howard Hughes's giant plane into the dome next to the ship back in the early 80s. I worked there 80 to 84. And then I realized one day that I was on a ship that didn't move next to a plane that didn't fly and wondered why my life wasn't going anywhere. So the poor ship was shut down. You know, there's not much to do except we have this amazing box. They talk about social distancing. I think it's actually physical distancing. I mean, I'm already in love with all of you all so much from this show. I'm so proud of all of you. This is the we-ness that I think is going to take care of this issue. And I think it goes past gender. I think it goes past age. I think it does come to attitude and openingness. And that's what the LGBTQI community has always been teaching us. And somebody said, you know, at your age, are you getting ready to retire? And I keep forgetting I'm this old. Like I should be, like there's some manual, like, oh, you know, like somebody said this to me the other day. They were, are you still having sex? And I said, well, not currently. I'm still dressed. But I think it's interesting. Remember, I grew up in the 70s. Oh, kids. It would curl your hair if I still had some. But we've gone so far past that. Although back then we had something called cruising. There was a lot of looking and a lot of eye movement and a lot of nodding. And now we have dating sites, which, you know, I also teach children. I also teach acting and I teach children. So there's no sexting going on over here. By contract, I just can't do that. So some guys on sites will send you, you know, this amazing erection picture. I'm like, wow. And they'll go, pics, and I have to explain to them. So that ends, you know, because this is such an ancient joke. What does a lesbian take on a second date? A U-Haul? What does a gay man take on a second date? Second date. You know, men get it taken care of. And so, but then somebody else sent me a, you know, do you have any sex pictures? And so I sent them the one I got from the other guy. Here you go. So we're going to go out later. And I've always had a bit of a weight problem. I was kind of a chubby kid, and so looks the same face down in the pillow after a certain amount of time. If we're just talking about sex. But the idea of having a second relationship, I was, as I said, in this relationship for 10 years. Now, my family does relationships really well. My parents were married for 44 years. My grandparents were married for 70 years. Both of my brothers married their high school girlfriends and are still married to them today. And I'd probably still be married to Jim if he wasn't, dead? Yeah, he passed away in 1993. And people always go, oh, and thank you. Because death is such a big issue. I mean, I was in the room when my niece Molly was born, and she took her first breath. The room brightened, I swear. And I held Jim as he passed, and the room dimmed for a minute. The only thing I know about death is you get ham. I don't know what to do. They knock on the door. Hi, we heard about Jim. Here's a ham. I think if cancer's involved, you get scallop. I think it's car accident and it's ambrosia salad. Go ahead, watch. I mean, people don't know what to do. They bring food to comfort you. It's been strange. I have actually gone on a few dates. Here's the deal that I know. Much like the sun will come up tomorrow morning, even in a quarantine, gay men are finding themselves in different places currently because they've closed everything, even the gymnasiums, which, half the guys that are working out are just going in the saunas, which I have a lot of body hair. That's not really a good, sexy place for me because now I just look like one of those water wiggles standing in the corner. I always wanted to be one of those guys that could stride down to the beach, with just a Speedo on and a towel. I'm very fair. I burn. And so I have to bring things. I have to bring a chaise lounge. I have to bring some suntan oil or I'll burn. And then I get bored really easily. And I don't want to get my phone wet. So I bring a crossword puzzle. Now your hands are nearly slippery. The pages are translucent. You can't do the crossword puzzle. And you can't open a can of soda. And then a gust of wind comes along. And now I look like a big sugar donut. It's just, why bother? And especially with all this hair, I look like one of those burrs that you dig out of dog's ear. None of it's pretty. So I went on an audition. They were looking for a classic Santa. And I thought that was kind of cool. And so I thought, well, how charming. I have been a manny before. I've taken care of children. And so I go to this audition, and these people took it seriously. This huge man, he was like 6'5" and big. And he has this red velvet suit with real ermine and this giant belt. I mean, I was overwhelmed by just sitting in the waiting room, getting ready to go in. And he turns to me, he goes, "You're not bad looking." There's something creepy about somebody dressed as Santa. When you think about the story, he sees you when you're sleeping. I'm like, oh no. He goes, because if you don't like what I'm wearing now, I also have a biker outfit. Oh no. Oh, I don't want to think that Santa's an escort. It's really ruined Christmas for me badly. I really have never been the same since I found out about the Tooth Fairy. So, but all of that's really creepy. I was reading the other day Grimm's fairy tales, and I'd never really read the unadulterated version. Oh my! No wonder society's a mess. Hansel and Gretel. He has to use a bone, so she thinks he's thinner, and he's in a cage. I mean, that's kind of hot, but that's separate. I worry about how we've been raising our children. Oh my God! But I don't have children. I'm a wonderful uncle. I like children in small servings, kind of like a side dish. I like the parents, and then they're sort of a side dish. I take them in very small doses. As I said, I was a flight attendant for a long time, and it was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. I did go through 2 emergency landings, and in those final minutes, as we were about to plunge into the tarmac in Denver, I thought, I wonder if I'm going to feel it first. I wonder if I'm going to hear it. And we came to rest 18 feet short of the end of the runway. I can't even tell you. The woman next to me went, "Oh my God, And she goes, "Aren't you happy?" I said, "No, really." Because I still have to worry about rent and laundry and vicious Christians from Dallas and lost luggage. It's just going to go on and on. But I think now I flew before 9/11. I think it's so difficult to travel any longer. And that's why I have all the respect in the world for people that work a lot on the road. No one's doing it now because this is so much more fun, quite frankly. So, and much like Joan Crawford, I always check. I have my little ring light, and I don't know if I want a brow lift, but if I take it up too high, it's going to meet my hairline. And that's the other thing. I always wanted to have fabulous hair. In fact, when I was a kid, it was the Osmonds or the Jackson 5, and I thought the Jackson 5 were way more interesting. And so my mother came in the bathroom, and she said, "What are you doing?" And I was taking her little curlers, and I was putting them in my hair. And I said, "I want to have hair like Michael Jackson." And my mother just turned and shut the door. And I didn't really turn out looking like Michael. I just turned out looking like I slept on my head wrong. But I wanted to be that hip. The Osmonds were just about as exciting as a mayonnaise sandwich. So that's also the place I grew up in Longmont, Colorado. We didn't have any black people. When the first black family moved into my hometown in about 1967, people were not sure what to do. They drove by and took pictures. Oh, it's so embarrassing. It's just unbelievable. And I remember my grandmother, who was an amazingly liberal woman. I heard her on the phone talking to her best friend. She goes, "Those terrible women at the church, they got together a box to take it over to the new family, a box of used clothing." Can you imagine? I imagine Michelle Obama hearing these, mountain women, because my grandmother would say that. She would go, "They're mountain people. They didn't get a lot of oxygen. There was not a lot of brain development." Imagine Michelle Obama opening the door and these dried up little women going, "Here, we think you need these." This couple had come from Chicago. He was a surgeon helping open the new hospital. They could have bought and sold everybody in town. It's just embarrassing. And I watch a lot of this mess now that's going on. And I'm so grateful. You guys have restored my faith in comedy and doing this. And I want to thank my dear sweetness, Dina Nina, very much for allowing me to be with you this evening. Thank you so much.
Oh, yay! Oh, this was so awesome, y'all. This was so great. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us this evening. You are all hilarious. We're going to be back very soon. We've got July 23rd at 7:30 Central. Paul, just kidding. That's an inside joke, y'all. Sorry. And with my comedy wife, Lolita D, hosting. Yay. I'm so excited. This is a really great lineup. So you can watch this however you're watching it right now on Facebook Live and also on YouTube Live. But we look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night. Stay safe. And we'll see you next time.